Hello, Internet.
Hey, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Yeah, Brandee. Welcome to Outrage Factory, the podcast where we look at the things that made people mad online this week and explain why they're dumb for caring. This week, myself, co-host Derek, and other co-host
Dale, me,
Dale,
I guess,
are joined by friend of the pod and former co-host herself, Brandee, who I would like to say still has hosted the most popular episode of Outrage Factory ever.
Is that accurate?
That is. Oh.
Nope.
Oh, Dale's.
Sorry, Brandee.
Dale's mad because
Rude.
that was the episode he wasn't
He was not
on.
there.
I was also going to say this is the first time I've ever done a podcast in the 3 years of podcasting on like 3 or 4 different shows, 5 different shows that I've had a woman co-host. If anybody thinks that the podcast industry isn't a patriarchy, they're wrong.
Wait,
it's just,
We'll try to be nice to you.
this is the first time I've done a podcast with a woman. So I've saved up a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah. Have you heard your opinions
saved up
about what is a vagina exactly?
What are we allowed to call vaginas on the podcast? Because we've had a lot of trouble with this.
So Dale, can we get this out of the way?
I mean, we're
Dale,
just going to go right to vaginas. We're
So
gonna
clams
start
are out.
Okay.
Yeah, Dale has insisted that
I mean-
clam is an okay euphemism.
To
for
me,
vagina.
clam is the least offensive.
I mean, have you smelled a clam? Like, that's not what anybody wants. Like, think about it. from
I did not see that reply coming. That caught me by surprise. I don't smell clams. No.
Okay. So.
Both literally and metaphorically. He just
Okay,
doesn't-
good to know.
So this has got to be a record for super awkwardness on this podcast. It's like less than
right
5
out of the
minutes
gate,
in.
too. Well,
Less
first
than
woman.
5 minutes in, and I'm like already awkward sweating.
Your first lady.
'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, what did we land on? Once we determined that clam was not allowed.
Clam's not a good one, no.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, I
said,
think-
have you ever smelled one? And you didn't say if that meant it was good or bad.
I just think it's not what we would want our vaginas to be called for many reasons. That being one of them.
Apparently, the P word has been universally vetoed, so I can't say that.
I mean,
Can you say
no one
that?
can say fucking anything, can they? Like, really?
It's
Honestly?
true.
Like, who cares?
Cancel culture,
Really.
man. They're gonna come after
We're going
us.
to cancel language. We're canceling English now. We're just like, you can't use any words anymore.
Yeah.
So.
We're canceling all words that mean stuff that people don't like, which is pretty much every word ever.
It's true.
All right,
I mean,
now
that would
we
probably
got-
solve a lot of problems. But anyway.
Now that we got the. What?
We haven't had cleared anything up.
Ah.
How about
You can say
Are we
vagina.
gonna keep going with this?
Vagina's
Okay,
a
I'll
good
just
one.
say-
Yeah.
I'll say vagina like I'm some science nerd.
You even
Okay, if you
stumbled
want to be a
over
science nerd, like you might have to
vagina.
go like to vulva, because if you want to be really technical, vagina is not the word. But
Yeah,
that's-
break it down
Vulva
into
is
the parts.
much too sensual.
Right. So just
Um,
stick with, you can't go wrong with vagina. I mean, somebody will still complain, but
How about the labius majorum?
I mean, sure, if you have that much
That's
time.
pretty scientific.
Okay. Well, I'll let
How
you
about
go with
this?
that one, too.
I'll
I thought
just
that was a
avoid it.
constellation. There's like the big bear and the little bear. Labius majora is the big one, right?
Perfect. Great.
Where do you
Please.
see that? And then the guy in the ancient times is like, over there, son. And he's like, I don't see the picture. And then he traces it in the sky, and he's like, oh.
Okay, so now I know why there aren't women on your podcast
Yeah,
very
yeah.
often. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you came back a second time, but I guess the first time I wasn't here.
You weren't here the
so-
first time. I think.
Okay, but to be fair, Dale, you
Yeah?
text me and asked me to join you.
Mhm.
I assumed that I wasn't also doing this with Derek this time. I thought it was just
Wait,
you and I.
wait. Would you have said no if I said me and Derek? I just
I
assumed
don't
you would
know.
Most certainly.
I don't know.
Almost
It was
certainly.
only Wednesday when I realized it was all three of us. So then I was like,
Yeah.
well, too late to back out now.
Yeah,
Thank you for not doing that. That would have been embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, Derek's on it. I can't do it
Yeah.
anymore.
be like, yeah, we were gonna have a guest, but then she didn't want to come
Couldn't
on,
podcast twice with Derek.
and then it would be like a secret reason why you couldn't come on.
That might have been cooler.
You can't. Do we land on? We're just gonna move on from that topic.
Okay, speaking of labius majorums and
Wait, I wanted to. Well, Before that, no, that was an
Okay,
awful segue.
wait. No. I don't. I just, for some reason, wait. What were you gonna say before I segue into
Well,
our first
I was just
topic?
going to make our small talk with our guest segment where we just like, Brandee, what's going on in your life? How's the pandemic been treating you? How is your household and family? Big plans this summer? What's going on?
I mean, we've all been here since the 13th of March. So, I mean, normally I work from home, but I normally don't work from home with like every person I, live with constantly. So no one's been injured yet. We lost a cat and got another cat. So, it's been up and down.
And that new cat was struggling recently as well.
Yeah,
but
he just was like, I'm going to 2020 this stuff. Yeah, now he's shitting again, which is nice. Like, they're like babies. Yeah, I told everybody in my family that I was going to lock them outside forever yesterday because trying to work when your 5-year-old needs a Band-Aid every 30 seconds and your 10-year-old needs some tech help with her schoolwork online, and it's just constant. So the living at work and working at home combination is hell. And
I mean, you were fine because you were doing that before, but the difference was that you didn't have everyone else doing it with you, right?
6 hours a day, nobody else was here.
Yeah.
And now they're just here all the time. It just feels like I'm working on a Saturday. I just feel like I'm working on a Saturday, like since the middle of March. So I'm a little resentful of my work, and I'm a little resentful of everyone being home, and I'm really resentful about the fact that like we can't even go outside. So,
but if you think about it that way, you've just had 3 months of Saturdays.
That's
not
good.
Yeah.
Working Saturdays.
Working
so
Saturdays.
Not
as good as a regular Saturday.
Like, so, and there's the whole part of me that's super stoked that I still have a job and can make money.
Yeah.
So I do really appreciate that. I just probably should focus on it a little bit more. So every phone call has to start with like, I'm sorry that a small child's going to scream behind me while you're talking about this. But that's everyone's phone calls. So.
Well, yeah, if it makes you feel better, like that's just the norm now. And like everyone's at like 40% productivity and there's kids and pets like shitting in the background every time you have a Zoom call. So
I would kind of like to get to the point where we don't have to go through the formality of like, oh, that screaming is like, because we all know we're all sitting, in their like our home offices or whatever. So, but I'm going to be able to go to the island on the summer because my dad has a big place and we can just go right from here to there and make him do all the stuff for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Camp in his yard. And then that way we're not.
Grandpa duty.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I have a question for Brandee.
Sure.
You've mentioned your job and pretty much everybody who's watching this live stream already knows you, but for the couple people who don't, what do you do for work?
I run a digital marketing agency that does content marketing and website development in the B2B space. So I wish it was something cooler than that, but it's not.
I mean,
digital marketing.
She occasionally pays me money to do stuff for her. So.
And he occasionally even delivers the things I ask him to. It's awesome. Every once in a while.
I mean, you could just say you're the modern Don Draper or Donna Draper.
Don't make it wasn't it Betty Draper?
No, like, because Don Draper's the guy who does the advertising, and Betty was his wife.
Could be Don Draper, but DAWN.
There we go. Oh, there we go.
Doesn't have to
that
be
English thing again.
Donna.
Yeah, there you go.
Huh?
All right.
Or transgender Don, who now identifies as female, but is still played by John Hamm.
And
I'm not
that's
saying
where the hate mail's coming from, Dale.
I'm not saying you look like John Hamm, Brandee, but I'm just saying if they want to make a new Mad Men and be super woke, they could just have the same cast, but everybody identifies as the opposite gender.
There you go. There you go. Get off the podcast. Go write it. Just found your new niche.
Please get off the podcast immediately. All right.
I think we've already had a fan because Candace in the chat just said, thanks for teaching Molly about the smell of vaginas from our crowd.
I mean, A, your fault for letting your child watch, and B, she was going to learn eventually.
Candace has met all of us, so that like that one was on her a little bit.
Yeah, this is like, she's like, well, each of them by themselves is offensive, so all three of them together.
They'll cancel each other out.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, speaking of offensive to children.
There you go.
That's a good segue. Chris D'Elia. Hey, do we still have to say allegedly? Because he hasn't faced
I
any
don't.
charges.
I've just like given up the. I mean, a lot of people posted receipts of like, and I don't know that there are a lot of women who are so eager to besmirch the good name of like a B-rate comedian that they would go through the effort of photoshopping these conversations.
A-rate, dude. He's
Is
been
he
on
though?
multiple sitcoms. Yeah. There's
No,
talk
you have
that
like.
he's...
Okay, so even like Louis C.K. like fully admitted to like locking women in rooms and jerking off in front of him, and that guy was
he never
A-list
said
as
he
hell.
locked them in.
And he just had to.
He didn't lock the door. They were really.
Yeah.
They were free to leave. They just had to.
I mean,
walk around
they also could have hung up
masturbating.
the phone, right? Like he did it over the phone a couple times. He just put the receiver down.
But that guy was A-list as hell, and he was only canceled for like 3 months before he made his reunion tour, right? So like, Chris,
more like a year,
Delia, whatever.
Derek, just because you haven't heard of him doesn't mean he's not super famous.
I had never heard of this guy until someone told me that I reminded them of him. And then like literally like 2 days later, it was like, oh, he also sexually harassed a vast swath of 17-year-old girls. And now I'm concerned for myself.
And this is a gross one because it's not just like sexually harassed. There's like allegations that he groomed them. Like, I don't know if there's any like rape or like attacks or anything, but apparently his like method of operations would be he'd go on Instagram and he'd look for Instagram models, and then he would just like slide into their DMs and be like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm super famous. I have all this money. Can you send me a nude? Like blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Like first degree creeper.
Yeah.
Not
and then
like
he
manslaughter level. Right.
And the biggest allegation came from 5 years ago, but Chris D'Elia now is 40. So this was when he was 35. So Chris D'Elia is the same age as us. So that makes it like, because when you hear underage girls and comedian, you're like, well, if he's in his early 20s, it's gross, but it's kind of like you get it.
Less gross, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, Christ, I don't want to talk to a 17-year-old for even like 30 seconds, let alone follow them around on Instagram.
Oh my God, I don't even want to talk to 21-year-olds.
No.
I mean, unless they really want to talk to me and they're fans of the podcast and they want to get on our Patreon, then I'll talk to them. But like about like real talk and like life
if
stuff.
Any 17-year-old girls are listening to this podcast and would like a personal message from Dale DeRuiter, head on over to our Patreon and send us some money, and he will happily oblige.
I'll oblige, but not happily.
I don't know. Yeah, this guy
17-year-olds don't have money. But
like you're like a pseudo famous guy, and you're
super famous. Let's just go with that. He sells out theaters and stuff. Like,
okay, but
I mean, it's I'm only insisting on how famous
Shrek,
he is.
The musical, and that was standing room only. You could also say they sold out a theater,
and he wasn't there, so he's not famous because he wasn't in Shrek.
He didn't play any of the roles in Shrek the musical.
Well, and it was standing room only, so it must be lame.
Yeah,
I'm just insisting on his level of fame because it makes it even worse. Because if he's just some schmo who can't pull, then it's like disgusting, but you like understand why. But Chris D'Elia is like attractive and super rich, so you're like,
attractive,
bro, you
and
can get
a little far.
Yeah, I don't know about attractive. I don't know about super rich either. He's not like Jeff Bezos.
Oh, he's super rich.
He's like,
he's super rich.
Well, he's super rich to a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
True. So am I probably though.
Right, exactly. You're not helping. Okay. You're not helping.
Right.
Your comparison.
Right.
At all with that.
I'm nothing like that. But
maybe that's why that person said you remind them of Chris D'Elia because you're super rich to the same level as Chris D'Elia.
Only to 17-year-olds. Like if your job experience starts and ends at McDonald's, then yes, I'm a very wealthy, well-off person. Anything beyond that, not so much. Okay, so this guy was clearly targeting younger women.
Yeah, and grooming them. That's the worst part, was that he was like, they're like alleging that he was like talking them, being like grooming is like kind of like an ambiguous statement because people are like, what does that exactly mean? And that's when you approach like a 15-year-old and you befriend them and you kind of just prove to them that you're a good guy, and then kind of like slowly over like 3 or 4 years kind of, I guess, Woody Allen them. Is that the best way to say it?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just basically get them so that they're attached to you, and then they think that you couldn't do them any harm, and so all this weird, gross stuff that you're trying to do is like legit. But
and you're like, usually I think this is gross, but this person's such a good person, and they're doing it to me. It's got to be all right, and all that like weird mind gamey shit.
For sure, and 17-year-old girls are pretty prime for that.
So the defense that his team tried to put out was that like, oh, he was asking these girls their age, and some of them lied to him, and he was like, if he found out they were underage, he would like end the communication. But
here's a tip: if you have to ask them their age,
they're too young.
Walk away. We're already done.
Yeah.
Like if in your brain you're like, I should ask this person, then they're too young for you.
Yeah, here's a tip. If you're 35 and they don't look at least 30, they're less than 20.
Yeah.
Because
if
girls
you look at a 22-year-old
nowadays,
now, you're like, oh, you look like,
Dale, don't.
I just feel like the oldest man ever. Like, girls nowadays they look so much older than they actually are.
I said,
they do
don't
though.
Say it, Dave.
But they do. So like, if you see a girl on Instagram and you're like, oh, that girl looks like she's 22, just don't even talk to her.
No.
Don't even like her pictures because you'll go to jail and lose your career.
I mean, a good rule of thumb is just don't talk to women in general. If they want to talk to you, they'll fucking talk to you. Otherwise, just like don't slide into the DMs, maybe.
Well, Derek, I imagine there's hundreds of women who want to talk to me, and they never talk to me. So I think
not until they got the
wrong.
invite. Again, any 17-year-olds or above who would like to talk to Dale DeRuiter,
can we say like
head on over to our Patreon.
32-year-olds and above, I'll talk to them.
I was gonna go with
How old were you going to say, Brandee?
Well, just the way you started that, I was like, uh-oh, that's going the other direction. But you saved it. It's fine. It's fine.
The other word that means an age that's completely unacceptable.
Do not. No, I think 17 is also completely unacceptable, just for the record.
Yeah.
They're all bad.
And then there was kind of this, so after this, Chris Delia, I'm going to get one of these times.
You were right the first time.
Turns out a lot of men who go into comedy are like super toxic and shitty and just enable each other and are generally sleazy.
Oh, Derek, you don't say? People who spend 10 years convincing people that they're funny and to laugh at them for attention are broken? I wouldn't have called that.
I mean, Dale, we're only 7. Yeah, how long have we been doing this podcast? We're only 7 years away.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could probably take the from comedy part out of that sentence. Yeah, but just men in general. Just that's
do that.
Men. That's
just broken.
When you group you guys together for too long, shit goes wrong. Just look around. Just look.
It's
around.
like
are not incorrect.
Do you want to hear the most offensive things you've ever heard? Put 4 dudes in a room and just wait. They will make jokes that will make your hair fall.
That seems less safe for me than you, but point made.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyways, what I was going to say was another caveat of I'm just going to blow right past that. I'm sorry.
Just go.
That's a deep dive. But what I was going to say was a caveat to the whole comedians being like trying to get all the attention. Another reason that they become comedians is they can't do anything else. Like they have these personalities where they like can't listen to authority. And I mean, now that there's podcasts, they all have like side jobs, just podcasts. So if all you can do is be a comedian because you can't hold a steady job, it's probably something to do with your own baggage.
Well, I think it's also more the like, just like eternally needing validation from strangers, which I'm definitely no stranger to that. So,
long conversation that just seems very self-reflective for the last little while. Do I need to be here for this?
A lot about myself.
Do you guys just need me to conduct your therapy session?
I mean,
you know,
I wish it was.
Are you qualified?
I don't think we're enough fans of this podcast for that to be true.
But like, yeah, like people who go into like acting or you know, unless we have any listeners who are in acting or like musicians.
We're in Vancouver. Half the people are in acting.
Or in acting. Meaning,
waiting for the big break.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, back to the comedy thing. Yeah, comedy is fucked up, and it's just like this huge circle jerk of enablers and generally awful for women. So I think every male comedian is probably canceled now, to some extent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, at least pause and regroup. Maybe try again.
I mean, if you're just gonna cancel every male comedian who is offensive, that's every
Pretty
male
much
comedian.
everybody, yeah.
I'm going to say there's offensive, which is fine in comedy. There's like being offensive. And then there's, just being a generally toxic and shitty person and masturbating in front of women or sexually grooming 16.
Wow.
I'm not a real age, Derek.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Derek,
Can we pause? I got to
Yeah,
you
this
gonna
whole
make a
live thing's a
confession on the
different setup,
podcast?
16-year-old girls, it's just there's a not so fine line between like telling jokes about those things that are meant to expose how shitty they are, and then actually like doing those things. I think the making jokes about it is okay.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, are we done with?
We're done with this guy.
Chris D'Elia and his disgusting habits.
Yeah. Before we wrap up. Oh, did you have something?
I was just going to say I can't remember. I think it was on the Fighter and the Kid podcast where there's like somebody just posted a video clip of Chris D'Elia when he found out that
that
Snapchat pictures don't delete themselves
I
anymore.
love that picture.
That
was the best.
What?
You could see the cold sweat like break out on his forehead. It was
Also,
fucking
why?
amazing.
Why do people think, ooh, what's going to go wrong? Snapchat will just delete that photo. There's no way this could ever come back and haunt me. Like, no,
Well,
it's on the internet forever.
10 years ago when Snapchat was invented, that was its sole reason.
I know it's called a screen cap, though. Once someone screen capped
Yeah.
it, it's done. Like, you can't get that back from them. So,
and usually it would tell you when you got. Does it still tell you? I haven't used Snapchat.
It wouldn't
in
matter
5
though
years.
if you send a pervy message and someone's like, screen capped it.
Snapchat.
What are you gonna
It's
do?
like, oh, now I know that they have a picture of my genitals, and what am I going to do about it? I don't have access to their phone.
Well, when it first came out, you couldn't even screen grab it. I don't think. I think like the app stopped screen grabs from working.
Yeah,
and
I think that was like a short-lived thing, and then it was just like a flood of dicks, and they were like, "Well, we got to do something to let people know that we got some."
It's like any new app they developed. What was that back at Chat Roulette? Remember that?
Flood
It
of
was like
dicks.
it was like, oh, we can just connect random people, and that worked for like a day,
like,
and then everyone was like, "Oh, I can just show my dick on this." to
Every
random
single-
people.
Every
And
app ever
fucking ruin-
invented just turns into a
it.
tidal wave of dicks.
Like, I'm surprised Facebook in its early days wasn't just like, oh, every guy in the universe made his dick his profile picture, and that's where we are.
But then, like, we used to, because, I have friends on dating apps, and they get lots of dick pics. But then we save them all and make an album, because then when people send you a dick pic, you send one back, and then they get super pissed, and you're like, well, I thought this is what we were doing. Like, isn't that what we're doing? And they always get super, super mad. And I don't understand.
I've only ever had one dick pic sent to me because when I moved to Vancouver 6 years ago, I got whatever number. And apparently an attractive female had the number before me, and she gave that number out to a lot of dudes. And then I just randomly get this dick pic, and then I just texted back, ew, why is it so bent? And then I never heard anything else ever again.
That's also a good one.
If you're a girl and you get a dick pic, this guy obviously has a very delicate self-esteem. So just make fun of his dick and he will implode and never message you again.
There was a point where I must have had an internet argument with someone who was not happy with me. I know. Very out of character for me. Very out of character.
But I sound like real life.
I think they went and put my number on or like my WhatsApp username or something on
like doxed you?
Chat room, because no, they just like added it and they were like, hey, I love cock, send me pictures. And for literally fucking like a month and a half, it was, and I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like my phone was blowing up and it was all just like dick pictures and really sexually aggressive messages. And I liked the attention, even though I knew it wasn't intended for me. But I had more dick pictures than I would ever know what to do with.
It sounds like a good coffee table book. That was always my thought too. I was just going to start a coffee table book and put their username in it, and then
and then
just start publishing it, dropping it off places, maybe sending it to their mom. I don't know.
I honestly wonder what the
Like,
legality
name a
of that
dick,
would be, because they
You send me the picture,
send you the
dipshit.
picture, right? That would fucking be a genius idea.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
dick pic book. Like a phone book. Here's your username and that's what your dick looks like. And then we could cross compare. Like, you can make a game because you could be like, how many other people got the same picture? Because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Dudes like to send their dicks to multiple women, and then it's like, well, you sent
They're
the
never
same
taking
one.
fresh pics. That's always,
No,
you
it's
have
like,
a couple pictures
dick
in your
pic.
repertoire.
Like you like set up the lighting and you got it all dressed up or whatever. And
you
then
make
Like,
it
I
white
wake up
so
in the
it's
morning
shiny.
and I'm like, oh, this looks extra shiny today. Take a snap and just keep that in the old photo. What?
Yeah.
You
And
don't-
then
again,
guys,
point of reference. I don't know if shiny's the look that anyone's going for.
just
Wait,
like
they
really,
don't?
really polished.
just
that
throw
not?
some talcum powder on there. What are you saying? I don't know. We don't get much feedback. We just get ghosted. So you never know if they're good or not.
I'm learning so much, you guys.
So are we, apparently.
Yeah.
All
No
right.
more shiny pictures. All right. Did we solve this?
Yeah. Crystalia is gross, and don't talk to underage women, even if they're on Instagram.
Don't even talk to like borderline. The only people who should be talking to 18-year-old girls is like dudes up to like 20, 21 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any reason.
I
I'm
mean,
always
no
reminded-
dude under like 30 should talk to anybody. So again, just don't. Just don't. Just save
Yeah,
us
I mean,
all
just-
from you.
Don't talk to women until you're 30.
Yeah, just grow up a little bit. It'll go smoother for everybody.
Yeah, you're not going to have anything mature to talk about anyway.
Yeah, and it turns out they don't like your dick pics, no matter how shiny.
Shiny
it
they
is.
are.
So, it's just
Shine it
You
up.
know?
We're still gonna put it in a book and send it to your mom. So
Yeah. Oh, man.
we should.
hey, we
Imagine.
spend a lot of time plotting creative revenge for these things. Not revenge, but just like it's so
Ways
flippant, right?
to
They're like,
ruin
"Here's a
someone's
dick,"
life,
and you're
yeah.
like, well,
Well, that's the thing. So what we're both guys, allegedly. What is like the female perspective? Like it's got to be violating, right? It's like suddenly there's just like a dick on.
yeah. I mean, it sort of depends. Like mostly it's hilarious because 100% if you've sent your dick to somebody, every person that they were around or were seeing that week has seen it. So like I don't get a lot of dick pics, but I have a friend who gets a lot of dick pics and we've all seen them. And then what happens is you become the guy who were like, your name's Couch Butt because you sent a dick pic that we all talked about and we saw your bare ass on your couch. And so now forever when we reference you, we call you Couch Butt
Oh,
or dirty underwear or whatever fucking thing. Like it's not, it doesn't go as well as you think. Because later we reference you.
Yeah.
Shiny
To Couch
dick.
Butt, you should send a message back, be like, okay, for the future, every girl's going to notice that you have your bare ass on your couch. And they're not going to want to come over to your house and sit on your couch that has literally been touched by your anus.
It's okay. We just refer to that person for 2.5 years now as Couch Butt.
Wait, is it someone you know?
It's not someone we know, but it was someone we knew well enough. And it was like someone in a circle of people that we all knew. And
Is it
that
our
person
circle?
just well, it's the internet circle. It's the
Oh.
Twitter circle.
Is it the couch right behind Dale right now? Is that the one?
Definitely not
No.
Dale. No. No. Dale would never do something so
Dale,
disgusting. He would never put his bare ass on his couch.
I mean, your reaction to this, Dale, suggests that you might have a problem with bare asses on furniture.
No? Okay. So, full disclosure, it's my couch and I'm at home and Andrea gets mad if I sit on the couch naked. Sometimes I come out of the bath and I'm like, well, I just want to air dry for a bit. And then she's like, don't sit on the couch. And I was like, valid point. I won't. And that's
What?
where that came
Right
And
out
that's
of the
called a
bath, it's
relationship.
okay.
Yeah.
If you've
I
just
mean-
cleaned,
I think it's okay because I'm clean because I just came out of the scrub chamber. So there shouldn't be anything wrong with that.
But it's like with children, like the general rule is like keep your anus off the couch. So whether that's fresh out of the shower or when you get home from work and strip down because it's hot, like just at any time.
I mean,
general
it
rule
It is an indefensible position. Like there's no way you could say, yeah, but I should be able to put my butt on the couch because, and then you're like, well, actually,
right. So
even the
and
cleanest
it's not
butt
really
is
that
still a
hard
butt.
not to put your butt on the couch.
Yeah, I mean, just
So throw a towel down. Or whatever.
I would do the old dog's mouth thing and be like, well, my butt at this point is not, sorry, I want to be clear.
Wow.
Not the dog's mouth
Wow.
on my asshole.
Okay.
But,
Really? You gotta just ease
I
into
kinda
that a
would-
little bit.
to be
I don't-
clear,
I don't want to
the-
jump to conclusions, but
like dogs' mouths are cleaner than fucking whatever. I would be like, my asshole is cleaner than this couch. So really,
Well, then why would you want to
Biggest
dirty your
battle.
clean asshole with the couch dirt?
that's a good point.
Like, think about all the gross shit that your kids or pets or whatever have done on your couch.
If
Couch is
your
a
couch
horrible,
is
disgusting
if your
place.
couch is dirtier than your ass, burn your couch.
Dude, if you have kids, I guarantee
couch is
your
dirtier
couch is
than your
dirty.
ass.
My kid fucking spills shit all over my couch. My kid comes nowhere near my asshole. So the
Yeah,
couch is my
100%
default.
he's barfed on that couch once or twice in his life.
Oh, yeah.
Because
We
my
all do.
couch that I don't have kids has never had food spilled on it.
Never.
never been
And no one's
Yeah,
ever
no,
barfed on it.
you wouldn't do that.
Nothing's ever happened. There's no Cheeto dust
No.
on Dale's couch. It's
No.
dust free.
There's been tons of stuff spilled on it, but it's all from me because I'm a sloppy eater.
But do people come over and then sit on your couch?
Nobody comes over, Brandee.
Oh.
Hey, you know what would help keep your couch clean?
What's that?
If people wore masks when they were on it.
Oh, that's true, because then they wouldn't get that breath that kills them. That's a nice segue, Derek.
There you go.
Oh my God. So what we're talking about is that video here. I'll just put the link to the video in chat. So if you're listening to this in real time, you can go watch the video. And if you're listening to this later on the recording, just Google it because do your own
It
work.
is ridiculous.
As a preamble,
is.
can we say that as completely fucked as the U.S. was in terms of coronavirus, like a month and a half ago, they have somehow found a way to make that exponentially worse, which is surprising.
And yet
Even
still dig in that it's not that bad.
yeah, and it's pretty much universally accepted now that like wear a fucking mask, and it's at least, even if it's the tiniest bit more effective in preventing the transmission of viruses, just fucking do it.
We need
Like,
it. Even if it's
it
1%
seems like a
effective,
no-brainer.
we just
Yeah.
need something.
Yeah. Although I do have to say one thing, because I'm a conspiracy guy, and this video out of Florida of people completely going nuts. Let's say Palm Beach, it was a town hall, and people were saying why they don't want to mandatorily be forced to wear masks. But so there's this conspiracy theory saying that in order for the USA to be more financially competent than the Chinese, they're going to have to adopt the Chinese way of life and kind of become like some sort of semi-dictatorship. And then you see a video like this and you're like, there's no way that USA could be a dictatorship, because as soon as you try to make them do stuff that makes sense, that they should want to do, they just all lose their shit and just go fucking bonkers. So you're like, oh, that's good. They'll never be a dictatorship because they just won't accept anything.
Well, they will though, because all you have to do, so they won't accept like outright orders, but I swear to fucking God, you get Kim Kardashian wearing a face mask, or I don't know, who's like a popular hero. on the
Crystalia?
right. That's a good one.
On the right, Candace
So-
Owens.
That's the problem, is that all the people that Kim Kardashian would appeal to probably are already
That is a very
probably
good
going to lean
point.
towards
Right.
just fucking wearing the mask.
Wearing the mask. All
It's
right,
a-
that's fair.
All the other morons that are the problem.
I
It's
don't
the
know
woman
any,
who's
like,
like, I
Pop
can't breathe. Like,
culture right-wing icons.
I mean,
well, that's the
there's-
problem.
There's got to be some, like Tucker Carlson, maybe, if he wore a mask,
Yeah.
that would
I
be
mean,
okay.
They do have right-wing pop culture figures, but they usually only last like 6 months until they do something to alienate themselves from their
Fucking
audience.
Dick Cheney sent a tweet today being like, hey, wear a fucking mask. I'm 1,000 years old and a war criminal. Like, be like me.
It's like,
But
I
that
can't
did
even
not-
get I can't even
Oh.
get COVID because I'm half robot, but wear a mask. Sorry to cut you off, Brandee. What were you gonna say?
No, it wouldn't even, Dick Cheney doesn't, no one was like, oh, well, Dick Cheney said it and he's on our side. They're just like, oh no, he's been libtarded or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they just shit all over
I mean,
themselves. Like,
that's-
what happened to him?
It's fucking crazy that, like, I don't understand. And maybe this is just like a byproduct of, like, you spend 20 years pitting the two sides of the political spectrum, like, in direct opposition to each
Right.
other. And it's like, if one of them likes something, the other one has to just, like, automatically dislike it.
Mhm.
But it's fucking bonkers to me that like in the midst of a pandemic, which is like a virus that is transmitted through your breath and mouth droplets, that like wearing a mask would become just have a political line drawn through it. Like that doesn't make any anyway. Yeah. Dale, do you want to get into your viral video and talk about some of the gems that emerged from that?
Well, so yeah, like gems. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to like watch it live because you'll just be a video of you watching me watch a video. But there was one where this old lady
said, podcasting.
You're not trusting God's breathe machine or something. Oh, breathing apparatus. Like you're
right.
And then another girl said she was going to citizens arrest everybody.
Right.
And then another girl said that she shouldn't be forced to wear a mask because when she was a child, her parents locked her in the car, and wearing a mask reminds her of being locked in the car. And it's like, I don't want to like shame anybody for their own personal trauma, but fuck off. A mask does not remind you of being locked in a car. And if it does, wearing the mask isn't your problem.
Also,
like,
yeah,
if it does and you can't wear it because you can't, then you need everyone else to fucking do it. Yeah, that's the thing that they're missing is like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not doing this for myself because they've kind of said that's not what the point is. But like, you should just want the other people to wear it so that they protect you, so that you can go around being an asshole without a mask. You should just be promoting that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, one thing, like somebody there's this other video, I can't remember what it is, but there was a guy who had like an air quality tester.
Yeah.
And then he was like, this is what it's like when you're breathing. And he holds it like right. So it's like up like this. And he's like, whoo. And then he's like, has like the air reader says like, see, it's 19% oxygen. That's still totally breathable. And then he puts his mask on and he like breathes right on the tube. He's like, now it's 17%. Now you're going to die. And now everybody in the South thinks they're going to die if they're wearing a mask. And I was like, I have this chat, like a video game chat, and I talked to some of the guys, and the girls in there are a tad right leaning. So it's fun to get that perspective, but they're like, this girl was driving a car and she was wearing a mask and she hyperventilated because she asphyxiated because she wasn't getting enough oxygen and she crashed. And then I just started making fun of the whole thing. 'Cause it's like, did Wild West shooters in the Old West not shoot each other? They just wore masks to see who would
just
die.
Passed out.
Yeah, from carbon dioxide poisoning.
I saw one today that was like a guy, and he's like, this guy will wear this thing, and he's like all full camo and like drown himself in deer piss for 3 days a weekend, go out hunting, but he can't wear a mask to get his Jamba Juice or whatever. And I was like, that's just the thing. Like, and it's insane. It's insane.
I mean, I don't think anyone actually believes that it's a health risk. Like, I think that's just some bullshit. It's like I need guns to defend myself from government tyranny, and then the government goes all tyrannical and nobody does fucking anything about it.
They believe it because that is the extent of the thought. Somebody on the internet said it makes me not breathe, and now I'm going to stop thinking. Like, they do believe it because they're just like, I am going to stop thinking, and then they just confirmation bias themselves into.
Well, that's like they didn't want to wear the mask in the first place, and then they were like, okay, someone said that it would interfere with my breathing. My favorite is those fucking like, oh god, some of these people are so fucking dumb. But like the cards they're printing up now, where it's like, this completely non-legally binding card that says. It like makes a bunch of like vague legal threats and says that I don't have to disclose a medical condition to you. And like businesses have every fucking right to be like, okay, fuck off. Like you still can't come in our store, but you can't wear a mask.
Yeah. Businesses are private property and they're allowed to deny service to anyone, especially in the States. Like businesses are allowed to deny service to anybody they deem for whatever reason.
Which like when it was bakers denying cakes for gay weddings, the Republicans were like, you can do whatever you want. You're a private business, but now you can't ask to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Save your fellow citizens. Like,
that's a very valid.
I'm a private business.
We only believe in private business rights when they're oppressing people. If it's for public health and safety, you can fuck right
that's
out.
Just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's like Derek said, it's just like a flag. It's like, oh, that guy's wearing a mask. He must be one of those lefties. And then it's if you're not wearing a mask. But I guess the ultimate revenge is now Florida and Texas are the states with the most new cases per day, because
9,000 like seems manageable, right?
That's probably.
7,000, 9,000. It's what?
That's almost definitely as high as it gets, because they're definitely doing something
Well,
about
and I
it.
mean, it's the summer, and
Right?
and the bars are not open as late. And so those things
Mhm.
combined, like
We were,
the virus
we were
is like,
told-
well, shit, I come out at midnight and now the bars close at 11, so I gotta go home. I don't know.
We were told the virus would die in the summer, so we're days away from that happening.
We're waiting it
Yeah, and they say it doesn't spread outside because the UV light from the sun just nukes it. So unless it's a cloudy day, you're totally free to do whatever you want outside.
It's totally fine.
I will say that I'm kind of fucking like wearing a mask is sort of shitty and
Horrible.
uncomfortable, and you have to like smell your own fucking awful breath all the time. But everyone looks like much cooler. And I think I personally am developing a bit of a mask fetish, if that's a politically correct thing to say.
I mean, if Mortal Kombat 2 didn't catch you with Melina, I guess it's time to develop that now. I don't like wearing a mask because it makes my face sweat and like right around my mouth gets all sweaty and gross because I have to wear one at work when I'm like grinding or welding shit to stop the gases that kill me. And so anybody who's saying like, oh, a mask's not going to actually stop all this stuff, it will. It'll stop that stuff, and it stops all like super small particulate matter and stuff. But
Dale, living makes your face sweat. Like it doesn't matter. Your face is sweating right now.
Yeah,
I can see it. You look very
it's all
damp.
sweaty up here and not down here. Usually I sweat like this. So like whenever I don't wear a mask, sweats. So if I wear a mask, then I have full face sweat instead of just half face sweat. But what I was going to say, it's like everybody's like, oh, these masks and stuff. But it's like you could just pull your T-shirt up. That's good enough. It's whatever just like blocks the moisture from
just
leaving.
block your droplets.
Yeah.
Hey,
the best thing is to get a bandana, and then you look
like a train robber.
Yeah, desperado.
Yeah,
and then you can put
cool.
it down, and then you look like a cool guy. Like you, yeah.
Our official stance is that the best thing you can get is an Outrage Factory branded face mask, which I'm pretty sure will be available in our online store shortly.
Those are available right now.
Look
They've
at that!
been available for weeks.
Hey, you can go get.
I just ordered mask yesterday.
Just go to Redbubble, and you could get with a big Outrage with the tiger logo.
Go to redbubble.com/Outrage Factory. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, I think it's under my name, Dalebot.
That's
You're leaving a lot up to the people to figure out on
what
that.
I'll do is, again, I will link it in the chat window right now, and then later on, I'll put it in the show notes when I post this on Transistor or YouTube and YouTube.
There you go.
So there.
I'm just looking at all the stuff right now.
Nice. That's a wicked thing to do on the podcast when people are listening to you. Just
looking at other
go down
stuff.
the rabbit hole.
You can get a mini skirt. You can get
you can get a shower curtain.
That's actually super dope.
I almost had Andrea convinced to get a shower curtain. You could get, I think, bath mats and stuff.
There is a mask. Fucking dope.
It's crazy how much stuff you can get on there. Like, you can get a clock, t-shirts.
Wow, that sounds like a party.
Mini skirt.
Mini skirt. I really, the mini skirt is fascinating. I think we're gonna have to get Derek into one of those so that we can sell
it. If the mini skirt doesn't I won't have hurt feelings.
Hey, I saw what was it? Came up in my Facebook memories the other day, the anniversary of the time I tried on Janina's clothes.
A cheerleading costume, or when you guys switched dresses?
The cheerleading costume.
Am I the only one that has that photo?
Yeah, I don't know if that was public knowledge until this.
Oh, I posted it. If anybody would like a copy of a picture of Derek about 9 years ago in a very old cheerleading costume, you just send the money to Patreon. I will email you the.
Everybody needs a photo. Let's get that on a mask.
You know what? If we're raising money on Patreon for it, yeah, go nuts. Brandee will post this.
We should probably see. Is Janina in the picture too, or just Derek?
It's just Derek. Don't worry.
Oh my God. Okay, Derek, are you okay with this? If I put that in the shop so people can get that?
Let me find it.
Stuff?
Let me dig through all of my stuff.
We could do it later. You could send it to me later, and I'll add it to the.
Yeah, something tells me
if Derek's okay with it.
It's not going to be a bestseller.
He looks great. He has a great look.
I did look pretty
it's fine.
good.
He fills it out right.
I mean, he does look
Speaking
young.
of 17-year-old girls, he kind of has the figure.
Oh,
We've come full circle.
Woo!
Turns out I was the 17-year-old girl and not the Chris.
Oh, and that was Chris D'Elia was talking to you on Instagram. Is that what happened there?
I wanted to go and show receipts, but
okay. But what was your actual story about the clothes swapping? Because
that was it. Just that it was the one where I was like wearing the hoodie. It just reminded me that we hung out 7 years ago, and I was.
It was like 9 and
skinny enough to fit into a tiny person.
You guys used to swap clothes all the time. It was great.
We did.
Yeah, and she was a legit tiny person, and you were, well, not tiny, but small. Small.
I mean,
what's
she
the
still
politically
is.
correct way to say
little
she's short?
people?
She's not a she's like
there's a word for it that
petite?
Little person.
Yeah, petite. There you go. This is why we have Brandee on the show, because she knows words. And I don't.
Periodically.
We should
little person.
We should have you on every week so that when I stumble, you could just jump in.
That would be that's like my ideal job.
That would be a full-time job.
I know, it would be great.
Yeah.
It would be great.
And the pay would be shit.
Well,
no
that's
like
how
literally
everything
nothing.
Is. It's
literally nothing.
It's
Outrage.
I want to talk about my conspiracy theory I came up with today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm super curious about this.
Is awesome. Okay. So what happened was everybody
You're
knows
really selling me on it.
Guys, you're going to love this. It involves Trump, Epstein, and the Clintons, and Alex Jones marginally. So a couple of years ago on Joe Rogan's 1000th episode, he had Alex Jones on before they tried to scrub Alex Jones off the internet. And Alex Jones, this was back when Alex Jones was still buddy-buddy with Trump. And he said one of the things Trump was going to do was try to root out all these pedophile rings and get rid of them. And you're like, well, if he does that, that'd be awesome because nobody likes pedophiles. So now, that's always been in the back of my brain because I saw that and I'm like, when's he going to get started on this pedophile thing? And then today, or not today, I don't know if it came out today, but Hannity interviewed Trump, and I was like, if you get in for a second term, what are you going to do? And Trump did his rambling Trump thing, and then he was like, I was naive the first time I came in. I've been to Washington all these times, but I didn't know what it is. I'm paraphrasing because he said word salad, like Derek said. And he said, basically, when I came in, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to acclimatize myself to the place. I didn't know anybody in Washington. He's like, now I know people in Washington. And Bolton was an idiot, and all he wanted to do was bomb people, and you don't have to kill people. And it's like, what? That seems like a weirdly naive, good person thing to say, like, you don't have to kill people. And it's like, are you not familiar with the foreign policy of all of America, pretty much? So anyways, that got me thinking. And then I was listening to a podcast by Tim Dillon. It was like episode 196 where he was talking here. I took notes in case I forgot. So he was talking to a journalist named Whitney Webb. And she had interviewed Maria Farmer, who was the interior designer of Jeffrey Epstein in the 90s. So Farmer had said that Ghislaine Maxwell would go to New York middle schools and try to recruit young girls for Jeffrey Epstein. And you know who was with her? Ivana Trump. So Trump has
Ivanka or Ivana?
Ivana, because Ivanka's the daughter who in the 90s would have been 2. So this was Trump's second wife. He was divorced from her at the time. And so that puts the Trumps and Epstein together. And then you have the Trumps and the Clintons were friends because at one bulletproof proof of this is you have Donald Trump's marriage to Melania Trump, and the Clintons are there, and there's photos of this. And then you have Bill Clinton on Epstein's jet, who flew with Epstein 26 times. So here's my conspiracy theory that I came up with. So Hillary Clinton, sorry, I got to go back a little step further. So Epstein and Trump were actually friends until Epstein was going to buy a property in Palm Beach. And then he told Trump, he's like, hey, look at this great deal I got on this property in Palm Beach. I'm going to buy it. Isn't that dope? And then Trump's like, oh, yeah, totally. And then Trump swooped in like a cutthroat businessman that he is, and he bought it out from under Epstein before Epstein had a chance. So this is where Epstein and Trump.
Wait, is this fact or is this conjecture?
This deal is fact.
Okay.
This is the last time I have facts, and this is where Dale's conspiracy theory starts.
Okay.
So we've already established that the Trumps and Epstein were friends, and that Clinton and the Epstein were friends, and Trump and the Clintons were friends. So at this point, Epstein gets so butthurt at at Trump, that it turns into this like rich person, like Game of Thrones chess game where they just try to fuck each other over. So Epstein, vowing to get back at Trump, starts getting blackmail with all his like sex island stuff and maybe whatever, all the supposedly unlawful business dealings that Trump had in the 90s and 2000s. So then we cut to 2016, or I guess before that, and Hillary wants to run for president, but she knows that she, being the first woman president, she's going to have an uphill battle. So she wants an easy target to beat. So she enlists Trump, who hadn't been a Republican until a couple of years before he ran. So she sets up Trump to kind of like poison the Republican Party from the inside and basically delegitimize it by just being Trump. And then everybody's like, well, if Trump's a Republican, I can't really go with the Republicans anymore. But to her surprise, he actually started gaining momentum. And then, and then she was like, if you don't run for president, because there's no reason why Trump should have ran for president in the first place. Like, he was a super successful businessman.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
And yet
he did. And the reason he ran for that was because Clinton needed him to be able to be beat. So she's still friends with Epstein. She's like, I have all this access to the blackmail material that Epstein gathered on you. So if you don't run for president, or you don't run in the primaries, I'm going to release some of this blackmail. So Trump like stops doing The Apprentice, stops doing all his businesses, hands them over to his family. He's like, fine, I'll show up. And then I think that's probably one of the reasons why he was so off the couth, like just making fun of everybody and not taking it seriously. And then he started getting traction, and he was like, oh shit, I'm getting traction. So he started just kind of firing back at Hillary, and he brought up the emails, and then he kept saying crooked Hillary and Hillary should be in jail, but he never said Hillary should be in jail because of the emails. So I think he was kind of alluding to all of this, like if you look into the Clinton Foundation and stuff, they have all this like murder list. So he's like talking about their shady past. So Trump was set up to run for a Republican primary by Hillary, and then she got sick, and then there was that whole thing about like everybody's like, oh, she's fainting, she can't run, and then all this stuff. So she couldn't run the campaign trail as strong as she should. And then Trump got all this traction out of nowhere because nobody thought that a jackass loudmouth would get anywhere in a presidential debate, because everybody was like,
did they not?
Yeah, I don't.
Because I think a lot of people were still, before Trump, they were like, well, we still take this seriously, and we want like, especially the Republicans, because that's all old stodgy people. But then it kind of blew up in her face, and he won. And then he did all this stuff. And like he said, like I brought up the point of the Hannity interview because he was like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I had all this stuff. So in the second term, he's going to go after the pedophile rings and get all the people that are with Epstein that kind of skidded away without any repercussions because he hung himself in jail.
Sure did.
So if we let Trump win a second time, he's going to bust up all these pedophile rings.
That is like the worst long game ever.
Yeah. Also,
Like
that
just
is
decimate
already
an entire country in 4 years and then get the
to win. I mean, I could see. I like how he's not going after the pedophile rings because he's like morally opposed to pedophilia.
No, he's just testing the waters about running the United States for the first term, and then he'll look into the pedophile.
Also, I think that's literally like, I think you just summed up the whole QAnon thing. Like, I think that's the whole premise of the QAnon conspiracy.
What if I'm QAnon?
Okay,
well, now you've exposed yourself, so now you're Q Dale.
Yeah, we're gonna have words
Dude, if I was actually QAnon, I would have said that and got us actual advertisement on our podcast. Could you imagine if we had a podcast for 3 years, and the whole time I was this super popular figure that was secretly like running things from the dark. And then you found out this whole time I could have gotten that reach through our podcast. Think of how big QAnon's Patreon account would be. He would have $200 at least.
At least.
Which is
and
$200.
Probably so many 17-year-old girls.
So
to watch it. Although
but that
apparently
just sounds like way more work than either of you are gonna.
they've done some digging in like the QAnon followers, which I thought were mostly like young people with brain worms. It turns out it's all like boomers, like old fucking senior citizens
They got
without
bored
jobs.
of Facebook.
Who just like sit on the internet all day and like buy into this conspiracy theory bullshit.
Yeah.
Which
That's
makes
like-
me really optimistic for retirement. Like,
Yeah,
fucking
thing
jazzed.
about that Facebook video that I posted about the masks, it wasn't young people. It was all pretty much
old people. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the old people are really, it's painful to watch them on Facebook because you see them and then they get the like, this is not real news, or you should watch out for this story. And they're like, well, now I don't understand. Like, I'm being censored. I'm like, no, it's because it's wrong and you're just making it worse for everybody by sharing it. And it's like, but I checked my thing and this exists. And I'm like, okay, you guys need to back away. Like, don't retire and then just scroll Facebook all day. Like, if that's what you're going to do with your retirement, just keep working.
I don't think that's good for the brain. You know, I see stuff like that and I start thinking like, should we wear masks? You know?
I mean, we should wear masks.
Yeah, Brandee's on. I'll just say it out loud.
Like, if we
do we really want these people to wear masks, or are we like?
Well, I want them to wear masks so I can stay here.
Let's wear a mask,
But
us, so we survive. And all the crazy people in Florida who say that it's wrecking God's breathing apparatus to wear masks. Let's just let them not wear a mask and just see what happens. I mean, I'm not for eugenics. I don't want to.
That's more Darwin.
Dwindle the population of the planet. But if we were going to do that, and we could pick.
I do kind of want to dwindle the population of people who are like, if I wear this mask, I'm going to die immediately. And then they look at a doctor, they go to the hospital, and the guy's, got a mask on all
like
day for 30 years.
Okay, let's go with New World Order Part 2. So New World Order was a Bush thing where he tried to dwindle the population of the earth. Basically,
are you turning this into a conspiracy theory podcast without me? No. Are you?
No.
Is that what you're doing?
No.
You get one per episode. That's it.
Also, I was promised it had something to do with pets. So is that a whole
pets?
other? You said you had a conspiracy theory about pets. Maybe it was a typo somewhere. There was
Pets.
some sort of pet conspiracy theory, I swear.
Oh, it's my pet conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory about pets.
Oh, like the theory itself of your pet. Oh, I see.
Sorry if I misled you. Oh my God.
There was going to be something about
where are the pets?
And
You're like, if he doesn't start talking about puppies soon.
I waited that whole time for a pet and nothing came
It's
up.
like, so far this is just boring political shit and nothing to do with cute animals.
Nothing.
All right, do your New World Order bullshit.
Okay, my New World Order point 2 is we dwindle the population, but we establish a chunk in the middle of the political spectrum. And if you're too far left of this or too far right, I'm not saying you don't get to go with us into the future. I'm just saying we don't force you to wear a mask or keep care of yourself.
Or seek medical
And then what
attention.
happens.
Like, I'm not even like
I'm
gloating
into that.
or I'm not like wishing unwell or I'm not hoping that these people get unwell wishes. That's a thing. I'm not hoping these people get sick and die, but it's like, it is very much like we get to see natural selection in action. And it was like, the people who were smart enough.
If I thought for 1 second that any of them would get sick and recover and then be like, whoa, I'm a stupid asshole, I should change the way I operate, I would be like, but they're not. They'll just be like, see? My immune system, I'm totally fine. What the fuck's the problem? And you're like,
why are you worried about? Why are we shut down?
What I was trying to get out of this.
Actually, we could call that the Boris Johnson effect because that's exactly what happened to him.
They did not seem to help him.
He was like,
around.
oh, I'm a fat piece of shit. I should have probably, oh my God, these doctors saved my life. I might have to change a few things. in the way I'm running things.
That is what happened with him, though, right? He did actually see the light. Okay.
Yeah, he like literally said, if it wasn't for these doctors, I'd be dead.
It's like, I think Trump and that Bolsonaro, that stupid dipshit from Brazil.
Oh my God.
Oh God, that guy.
Dude,
Brazil
right now, they're like, oh, everybody's like, oh, USA's so bad. And Bolsonaro's like, wait till you see this. Did you hear that quote he said? Like, there's a picture of him like out in public, just like now, when shit's literally hitting the fan in Brazil. And he's like, we're going to take on the coronavirus like men.
Like men,
and it's
yeah.
like, whoa.
Like face down on a ventilator? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, shit, that's whatever.
Like,
seriously.
Also, USA, I'm like, it'll probably be okay. It'll suffer and have like economic downturn and maybe like a depression. But Brazil, I'm like, will Brazil make it through this? Because they're getting over 50,000 new cases a day, and it's nuts.
So is the U.S. right now. And you look at, like, everyone's like, oh, the economy, we got to restart to save it. But it's, I swear to God, like, you look at even the states in the U.S., like New York and Pennsylvania and fucking New Jersey and Connecticut, like the ones that, like, went into full fucking lockdown 2 months ago. And now they're starting to come out of it, and they're, like, starting to bring their economy back online. But you look at states like Texas and Florida, like, they're gonna have to shut the fuck down at some point. And they've been
Texas just did today. They just were talking about remandating lockdowns and stuff.
Lockdown again, yeah. It's like you rushed the reopening because you wanted to do it for the economy, and this is gonna have way worse economic effects because now you're gonna be even more tepid coming out of it next time because you got fucked this time because you lightened up too early. And I tweeted it today. Like, I'm going to be super curious to see. I'm waiting for like 5 years from now where they look back and do like an assessment of the economic impact on red states that opened up way too early to fix the economy and blue states that stayed locked down. And even Sweden is a good example of that. Like, you look at Sweden now, and they're still basically fucked. Their economy got as fucked as everyone else. And they've suffered like higher infection rates, higher death rates, and to add insult to injury, they're also being prohibited from, as the rest of Europe reopens back up, they're all saying everyone is welcome to come except for Swedish people and Americans. Yeah, because they failed to control their shit. So
yeah.
Sweden, that's just a thing that happens to them across
Sweden
Europe.
Still has a higher death rate per million.
Is that a typical thing for the Swedes?
You know what? I've spent a little time in Denmark, and so I have like this Danish thought process about it because I don't really know anything else about Swedes, but like I do know that they take boats over to Denmark and then get smashed and throw up in the streets a lot, and they're just generally like the Danes who, again, I've spent some time there and I know lots of people there. I think that they've got their shit together for like a lot of things, and they're just so logical about everything. So when they're like, "Ugh, Sweden," like then I kind of know that maybe that was the trajectory they were going to take.
Fellas, I spent time in Denmark.
I'm sorry, not anymore. Just be here in fucking Burnaby forever. So.
Oh yeah, Kate just pointed out too in the chat that alcohol consumption in bars in Florida has been suspended. Right now,
immediately,
and that's they closed. No. They closed everything as of Monday.
Oh,
they'll like give you one more.
Maybe Florida. Maybe
weekend.
That was Texas. Yeah. One of the states just said that they were re-implementing bar closures and night stuff like that on Monday.
Yeah, but I think
because
Florida
again, the coronavirus doesn't happen on the weekend.
Florida's not closing the bar; they're just not serving alcohol, which is such a weird.
Well, I mean, no one's gonna fucking go hang out at a bar without. Have you been at a bar without alcohol?
No, because it smells the same, but you're sober, and so
exactly. It's awful. You can remember everything. It fucking sucks.
Like
are we back to this smells like clam thing?
No, I mean
we started the podcast.
What kind of bars are you hanging out in here, buddy? All right, Dale.
Celebrities.
We get one more topic before we shut her down for the night. Make it a good one.
Let me find a good one. So,
Brandee, hey, because you're our guest host, did you come armed with anything? What made you angriest on the internet this week?
Oh God, everything.
Okay. That's a good start.
Well, and so this one's today, and this is like sort of not really relevant to anything we've been talking about, but there's the guy that was going on his big tangent about how not having children is a privilege.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's
not
a
like,
good one.
that's not enraging me. This guy is just insane. Like, he's just so stupid. And I was just laughing at the whole thing because he starts off talking about how not having children is a privilege that people are not talking about. And then how kids and dogs or kids and pets are not the same. And how parents have more things than non-parents to worry about. And so not having children is a privilege. And then so there's a million people, obviously people who choose not to have children or can't have children or for whatever reason don't have children versus people who have children, and everyone is just saying that he's horribly wrong, but he really just sort of doubled down on it.
I'm just gonna
As
say
wrong
this.
people often do.
As they do.
I don't have children, and I'm not going to check my privilege because I don't have a whole bunch of money because I didn't have kids. This guy's a fucking idiot. Like, it just sounds like he regrets having kids.
Well, and that's the
all I
conclusion
got.
that everybody came down to. And he's like, you people telling me your dogs are like children, that's not accurate. And I'm like, well, nobody who actually has children or animals like believes that. People say that, oh, my pet's like my baby. And they don't believe that. You know that when you go out and you leave your dog and cat at home, that's not the same as what you do with your kids.
You can't leave your toddler for 8 hours and go to work and then come back
Yeah.
and like be like,
you can't
I
even
hope
leave
he
them
didn't
for like
choose
7 minutes, frankly. Like, they
if you
cannot
put
hang.
it in a shit box and you put a cage over top of it, then
But like legally, you cannot do that.
oh no, not legally.
Not legally.
The best part is like
could.
this guy who posted this, you just want to go and like pull his kids in the side and be like, yo, is your dad a fucking lunatic? Are you guys okay? Do we need to call health services on him or anything? And then talk to his wife and be like, so how's the marriage?
Stuff.
How's
things?
How's that piece of shit husband of yours? Is he ruining your life because he regrets the choices he made?
Yeah, that was just a hilarious anecdote on the internet today, where I was just like, what a swell guy. And like, you could tell the way that he threaded it, and he thought he had these like deep thoughts about it, and it went in this. I was like, he thought that everyone was gonna be like, yeah, you're right. Not having kids is a privilege, and us parents are fucked and everything, and everybody was just like, no. Like, no matter which side of this you look at, like, no matter which angle you look at that from, it's wrong. There's nothing.
That's my favorite thing about social media is it's like most of the time it's just people bitching at each other and it's bad, and then there's memes. But then you have a guy like this who's like, I totally have this valid point and everybody's gonna tell me I'm so smart, and then just a tsunami of fucking shit just rolls down on him, and he just like gets like the next however long he wants to read comments. Rude.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and then they have to like delete their accounts, and that's awesome. Well, you know what? I had one tweet go viral, like completely accidentally, ruined my whole life. Like, that thing still, it's on Reddit. People are like, I found you on Facebook. I'm like, great. That's a great way for me to keep my fucking Twitter private, because now I'm on everyone's goddamn Reddit page. And if that happened, like that guy, you can't keep up with it. You cannot keep up with it.
I had a tweet go past 2,000 like likes, and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking mute this because this is more than I signed up for.
Mine has 41,000 likes and like 100,000 retweets. I can't get away from it.
Yeah, congratulations to you both on going viral this year.
That was totally not. I mean, and I'm just really happy that what I said wasn't just some like blathering bullshit about.
All right, Brandee, what'd you say? So
wait, you both kind of went viral for the same reasons, right? Like, you said something about masks. Dale also said something.
Oh, mine was like, stop comparing us to Sweden. If you actually look at the numbers, they're doing fucking terrible because their death rate per million is through the roof. And then that was all I said. And then
I just said that
a whole bunch of people liked it, and then a whole bunch of people hated it.
I said that anti-mask rhetoric is the same as anti-vaccine rhetoric, and it's just visual. And so a bunch of people really agreed with that. A bunch of people really did not agree to that.
Disagreed.
And then
hot button issues.
And then I had to block a bunch because I'm sorry, because aggressive American men get blocked when they start to like call you crazy things, because you're like, I don't really want to be doxxed, so I'm just gonna shut you down. And then you end up on Reddit. So
I think the most surprising thing about that is there's still anti-vaxxers. It's like, even if I wasn't,
there's anti-corona like, have you ever seen all the people like they won't even get the coronavirus vaccine?
Oh,
like, I was fucking getting that. I'm like,
when this happened, I was like, okay, like this is gonna. I was like, I'm gonna be really curious to see how anti-vaxxers like get in
reconcile
line
it.
for this fucking vaccine because like
Oh,
we
they
all
die.
need these. Lots of people are dying. And no, it actually surprisingly turned
More people anti-vax. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want the first coronavirus vaccine, I'll be honest. Like, I don't want that one.
No, let them work out the kinks a little
Like,
bit.
I'll take it later, but
I'm not getting the I Am Legend
no, but
version.
I can't. And
We
then
won't have access to the first vaccines for like a year because we're not super rich. But yeah, like I would totally get a vaccine. It's like, oh, does this have a chance to keep me alive for longer? Then yeah.
I mean, not super. We get it for free.
They're not gonna have it in Canada.
What?
It's gonna be like
I mean, no, because we'll have it like locked down and our shit generally under control.
yeah.
It'll probably go to the.
I honestly don't think we'll need them here in BC. I think it'll just go away
you're still
magically.
gonna-
it'll just
No,
become
that's
like
not-
the flu vaccine, though. It'll just be like
Oh, like a
feel
flu
good, but-
shot. You
Thing.
just go to the
Yeah.
drugstore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
it's
and
just-
then you can have that argument with people be like, I don't get the flu shot. And it'll be like a badge of honor. They'll be like, I didn't even get the COVID shot this year. I'm just going to risk it. Because this is just going to
I
come
know,
back
'cause
every
people
year.
love
now.
it. Yes. Well, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I know people love to be able to say that. Or
I
like,
mean,
I
I've-
got the flu shot and I still threw up, so I'm not getting another one. Like,
Yeah.
well, those
Yeah.
are not related
Didn't
at
work.
all. So
Yeah.
Good for
My
you.
stories are always like, I got the flu shot and I made some jokes and the nurse didn't laugh at all. And
here I am.
that's the end of the story.
Yep. And now I'm sad.
And then I tried them on the podcast and people also didn't like them.
So now
Maybe
I know
the
for
moral
sure.
of the story here is that your jokes aren't good.
No, the moral of the joke, or the moral of the joke, the moral of the story is I laughed, so it's already win-win for me.
Perfect. That's all that really matters. That's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey,
Hey,
thanks, Brandee, for joining us for another week in internet outrage.
Anytime. I hope it was okay for Dale. I know it was his first time with a woman.
yeah,
So
We got up. Nice. It truly was.
it was just as awkward and
And-
hard
It was.
and meandering. as
exactly
my
how I
actual first
anticipated
time.
it to be, Dale.
Yeah, got off to a
Exactly
very
how I-
rocky start and had
There's
a very
a lot-
rocky
your
finish.
little
I,
flush.
yeah, I feel like I have to make up a conspiracy theory that involves animals.
Yeah,
Just
no, I'm
because you
going
were
to be
so
waiting.
excited for
I am
it.
going to
So-
be waiting for that. I want it by a text around 11 p.m.
Okay, I will text you, and unicorns are real. I'll just figure it out.
Figure it out. You figure out how
Yeah.
and sell that shit to
How about
kids
this?
outside.
Unicorns were real, but Chinese people snorted powdered horn before there were rhinos, and now there's none.
Put a little more work into that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Brandee, do you want to tell people where to find you online?
Reddit, apparently.
Reddit, apparently, yeah.
Do you want to share your stuff
Yeah.
or no? Okay.
Well, my Twitter is Miss You Do You. That's really the only place. I mean,
Go there.
Instagram is linked to there, but
She has
that's
lots
not
of
as
opinions.
exciting.
They're
do.
mostly good.
Sometimes.
Mostly. 80%.
Mostly. 80%.
Hey, I'm your co-host, Derek Boland. You can find me on the Twitter machine at Herder.
I'm Dale DeRuiter. You can find me on the Twitter machine at SuperDalebot.
You can find us on the Twitter machine at Outrage Fact Pod or on Facebook at facebook.com/OutrageFactPod. Again, if you are a girl 17 to 19 years old and you would like a message from Dale DeRuiter himself, please head on over to patreon.com/OutrageFactory and donate some money, and he will send you a erotic or non-erotic message of your choosing. If you are not a 17 to 19-year-old girl and you would still like to give us money, you're welcome to do that as well.
And
Does my
don't forget, I
Facebook-
have a photo of Derek in a cheerleading costume.
All right.
Motivates
No,
you.
I'm going to make swag out of
Okay.
that picture.
I'm going to find them all.
Even- I
There's a
might.
series. There's not just one.
Okay, what I might do is I might cartoonize that and
Right.
make like swag with that.
Good for
But-
you. I have Dropbox going all the way back to when Everly was born, and I've
Oh,
known Derek for
nice.
approximately the length of my oldest
That-
daughter, so I've got
That
a
same
lot,
amount of time.
a lot of things
So
in there.
yeah, there will be Derek dressed as a cheerleader swag coming. It
There
might
will
not be tonight. It might take a bit till I draw it because I am going away for a week tomorrow. So I will be away from my art computer because I don't have the programs on my laptop. I don't know. You guys don't care. Has my face been this red the whole podcast?
Yeah, and also you can keep talking about this, but we're trying to wrap it up. Wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't want to go.
It's just
It's so
Wherever you get
lonely
your
in the
podcasts,
lockdown.
please rate, review, subscribe, do whatever. Tell your friends about us. Wear a mask, and until next week,
Stay angry.
bye.